Shabbat Shalom, good evening everybody, and welcome as you're joining us virtually at Temple Beth for Shabbat services this evening. We had a few technical difficulties, so please excuse the little bit late start, but here we are, Bruchim Habayim, and we start off our service with our Kabbalat Shabbat section on page 12, Lechu Neranena. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. On page 9 on the bottom, a reading for Shabbat. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And for the lighting of the Shabbat candles, we turn to pages 3 and 2. And I'd like to invite Eve and Joe Schwittler to tune in as they're lighting the Shabbat candles, and the kids as well. Shabbat Shalom, good evening, guys. Good to see you.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom.
Blessings.
All right, Joe, I think you're going to do the reading. Sorry. Right here, stop.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
All right, and I'll do the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad l'ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Yasher koach. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
As we are in the welcome wagon, we turn to page 20 and 21 to welcome in the Shabbat bride. Let's join together. Lecha dori likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ol tiferet ve'letila. Lecha dori likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dori likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'nelcha,
כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Stanza 5.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Stanza 9, the last one. Please rise as you're able and face the door, the entryway where the Shabbat bride may come in your home.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please have a seat. Page 24 for Shalom Aleichem. Say welcome in the Shabbat angels as well.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
With that, we turn to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך יראותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן.
Page 28 for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Please rise as you're able and face east, wherever it is from your direction.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
Page 30 for Ma'arif Haravim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה כוללו מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המריב הרבים.
On page 33 on the bottom, a creative prayer for Ahavat Olam. Together, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your words and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam vaed.
Please have a seat. On page 36, please join together for Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 39 on the bottom, you read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace. Give us the courage to say, Adonai, there's one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. For Micha Mocha on page 40, I'd like to share once more the melody by Mark Lipson, rabbi in Norwalk, Connecticut, that I studied with. I thought it was a beautiful setting for this piece of freedom.
Micha mocha bailim Adonai, Micha mocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Zeli, Zeli, anu ve'ameu. Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifad Adonai Yaakov, uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 43 on the bottom, creative reading for Hashkivenu. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 34, the top. Let's join together for V'shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We're about to turn to the Tefillah, or Amidah, the standing prayer, beginning on page 46. Please rise one more time as you're able and face east, wherever that is from your direction. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיף הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני יפה. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please have a seat. And page 55 on the top, together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 56. Chetzei Adonai Eloheinu B'yamcha Yisrael, Utfilatam Be'ahava Tekabel, Utahi L'ratzon Tamid, Avodat Yisrael Amecha, El Karov L'chol Koav, B'nei El Avadecha B'choneinu, Shfoch Ruchacha Aleinu. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון. For page 58, for Modim, our prayer of thanksgiving, take a moment to think about what are some of the things you were grateful for from the last week. And if you want to, feel free to share them in the chat on the bottom. bottom of the page, the Chatima together. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulechana lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you're worthy of thanksgiving. Page 60, let's join together for Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim beolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol het u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Shalom. Take a moment of silence now for the prayers of our heart. Feel free to use pages 62 or 63, coming back on the bottom of that page in a moment. Ose shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. There's a well-known saying in Germany, wenn einer eine Reise tut, so kann was erzählen. One who ventures forth on a journey
has a lot of things to tell. There used to be a time before the internet, cell phones, and Facebook when you would not hear back from somebody who had gone on a journey either until their return or only by way of a letter, which would take weeks or even months to be delivered. These days, it's pretty much possible to be in touch with people all around the globe, 24/7. Even when somebody moves permanently to a foreign country, you can keep track of their whereabouts by all kinds of technological gadgets. It is now even possible to share the story of your own emigration publicly on national television. For about 15 years now, a new reality TV format has popped up in several European countries that goes by many names. In Germany, by Goodbye Deutschland, Farewell Germany, and Die Auswanderer, The Emigrants. In the Netherlands, you have Ik vertrek, I move. The procedure of these shows is pretty much the same. People who are on the brink of moving to a foreign country are being accompanied by a camera crew that documents their journeys as well as the first couple of months in the new environment. It is mostly middle-class families who are featured. Very often, they move to a sunnier climate, such as Spain, Portugal, or Italy, to open up a bed and breakfast, a beach bar, or a restaurant. Some of them are nature buffs who move to Scandinavia, and a few really adventurous ones move to exotic places like Thailand or Indonesia to offer sailing cruises to tourists and the like. The motivation for the move is usually along those lines: the bad weather in Central Europe, the grouchy, uptight people at home, compared to the relaxed and friendly atmosphere in the countries they're planning to move to. Unfortunately, though, more often than not, their moving plans were not thought out too well. At least 50% of the families covered in those shows did not bring enough seed money to make their new lives and enterprises work, or they did not really know the language of the country they had moved to, which left them at the mercy of foreign bureaucracies and realtors, as well as making it hard for them to integrate into the society. And in case you're wondering what happened to those whose emigration ultimately went down the tubes, TV does not let you down there either. Right after Goodbye Deutschland, they air Die Rückwanderer, The Returners, starring the very same families who emigrated a year or two ago and who are now coming back to Central Europe and trying to get their lives back together. While the technology to document expatriates' life might be new, the phenomenon of migration is actually an ancient one. In this week's Torah portion, we read of another epic journey, that of Abraham, then still called Abram, and his family. The portion starts off with Lech Lecha, go forth, which according to Jewish tradition is the point in time when the history of our people really begins. But when we take a closer look at the text, it seems that Abram's journey has already started before that. At the end of Parshat Noach from last week, we read, "And Terach took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terach were 205 years, and Terach died in Haran." It is only then that God speaks to Abram those famous words we all know. Lech lecha me'atzecha u'mimoladetecha u'mibeit avicha el ha'aretz asher a'eka. Go forth from your country, from your place of birth, and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. So it seems that Abram and his family had already been on the move even before his calling. The rabbis offer many different readings, of course, of what caused Abram's father, Terach, to relocate. Most likely, they say, Terach moved for business, as Haran, the city he settled and ultimately also died in, was a great cultic center for the moon god, Sin. But what has that to do with Terach's move? All in all, our tradition is not too fond of Terach. You might have heard the Midrash from Genesis Rabbah that describes Terach as a merchant of idols. One day, his son Abram smashes those idols to show his father the vainness and lack of power of those idols, and also to make a statement for monotheism. So while Terach might have been looking for a greater market for his idol business, what was it that motivated Abram and his wife Sarai to accompany Terach on their journey? On the one hand, they were part of the same clan, you might say, so they would automatically move along with the family. But on the other hand, the text also mentions, seemingly unconnected to the rest, that Sarai was barren and could not have children. There's a saying in the Talmud, in Rosh Hashanah, Meshaneh makom, meshaneh mazal. One who changes his place, changes his luck. Or in short, new place, new luck. The rabbis argue that Abram and Sarai might have hoped to change their luck with their relocation to be able to become parents after all. So even if Abram and Sarai might have started off their journey as part of their father's entourage, their story gains its own momentum upon Terach's death, when Abram himself is being called by God. Not only is he promised progeny as numerous as the stars in the sky, the mazal he had been striving for, as long as he accepts God's command to lech lecha, to go forth. He's even going to be a father of nations and a blessing for all the world. I myself have always been a bit skeptical about the issue of callings. If you were to walk around these days and tell other people, God spoke to you and put you on a special mission, you're more likely, I think, to end up in a mental institution rather than your promised land. But if you look at Abram's journey through a different prism, that of Meshaneh makom, meshaneh mazal, new place, new luck, Abram's decision to venture forth makes a lot more sense. It's the very same reason that still moves people today to say goodbye to the places they used to call home and to journey forth to new locations on their own personal missions. So even if Abram might not have learned much from Terach in terms of religion and worldview, his merchant father nevertheless provided him with the resources and the skills to make it in a new foreign place. Smarts not all the contemporary immigrants seem to have these days. And who knows, with God's blessings, something great might still come out of it. Shabbat Shalom. For the announcements on this Shabbat, I'd like to invite Maddie Pimentel-Diaz to tune in and read those to us. Please, Maddie. Just double checking, everything all right? Everyone's ready for this? Oh, thank you, Maddie. There you are.
Hi, how are you doing?
There you go. Shabbat Shalom. Same to you.
Shabbat Shalom. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for this amazing service. Thanks to all who joined us this evening for our virtual Erev Shabbat service from the sanctuary, as well as the home of our various congregants. Thank you, Rabbi Tui, for leading us tonight in one more solo service. Cantor Fine is on vacation, but we'll be back next week. Have no fear. Thank you, Benjamin Zivan, Bob Garden, Kat Ellis, and Rainey Carlin for handling the service production and broadcast. We are all working through a month of training on the sanctuary equipment. You too can help. If you're interested in helping and want to help ensure we can continue to stream services as well as running the sound of the sanctuary, contact Aaron Peterson or Jordan Harris to join the Temple Tech team. We need your help. We have a number of opportunities to gather, learn, and celebrate in the coming days and weeks. Friday services will continue to be made on Facebook Live, YouTube, and on the Temple Bethel website. Details on how to find the live services can be found on the live streaming webpage. Note that all Friday services are now back to the normal start time of 7:30, except for the last Friday of the month, which will be at 6. Saturday morning services are on Zoom. The Zoom link is found in the weekly Shabbat Shalom email. Make sure you check it out. Tomorrow, we have Torah study at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Shabbat morning service is at 10 on Zoom. Zoom Havdalah will be tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Next Friday, we will again be offering multi-access, in-person and remote services as we wish Rebecca Kenziora goodbye after 18 years at Temple Bethel. Join us to thank her and wish her well on her next chapter. You will need to register and follow all COVID protocols to attend in person. The Sisterhood General Meeting will be Tuesday, October 26th. For the safety of all in our community, we took a break from in-person services before moving indoors. We have finalized our service attendance protocols, and will return to in-person and all access services in the sanctuary next week. In order to do so, we will need the efforts of our service supporters once again. As of now, we still do not have enough volunteers signed up to maintain our in-person. So please, if you're willing to help, please contact our Temple President, Aaron Peterson. We need your help. Registration and COVID vaccination verification will be required to attend. A communication was sent out to the community this week, and the same information can also be found on the TBE website under COVID-19 webpage. As always, you can continue to view services on Facebook, YouTube, and the TBE website. You can interact and comment on both Facebook and YouTube. Invite a friend. The Judaica shop will be open on Fridays from 11 a.m. to noon and by appointment. The shop will also be open 30 minutes prior to the beginning of services on Friday night when we return to in-person services. Make sure you check out the Shabbat Shalom for a number of opportunities to help volunteer and how you can help our neighbors at the Islamic Center of Tacoma Center with their rebuild effort as they were a victim of an arson fire last week. And as always, if you need any help or are willing to help those in need, please contact Temple clergy, staff, or leadership. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Maddie. Appreciate it. In the midst of our Shabbat rest, we take a moment to think of those who are in need of healing of body, mind, and soul. As Maddie already mentioned, also our neighbors at the Islamic Center got hit by this firebombing, so we also include them as they are struggling to rebuild and get their regular prayer services back together. If you can support them, please do. And also, I would like to include Kiana Williams on this list. If there's anybody whom you are thinking of at this time, please feel free to share their names in the chat or in your hearts as we're about to recite Mishe Berach. Anybody here? Mishe Berach is on page 253. Please join together. Mishe Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimoteinu
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. To rise one more time for the Aleinu, page on page 282. We can jump to page 287 from there. Please rise as you're able and face east from your location. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please have a seat. Take a moment to think of those who are no longer with us. On the bottom of page 291. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. First, we commemorate those who are marking the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. If there's anybody of you who is in a period of mourning, please rise at this moment. From our community, think about Rita Lowenthal. And to the mourners, extend the traditional words of consolation. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch she'av alei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. And now to those who are marking a yahrzeit at this moment, at this Shabbat, please rise. From our community, remember the following: Ricky Behar, Harold Bernstein, Sam Kasher, Peppy Faberman, Jean Fogdy, Leo Golden, Sarah Levine, Morris Mesher, August Miller, Mark Newman, Louise Ohlert Sexton, Israel Schneider, Beth Schuval, Judith Seeley, Rose Segelman, Joseph Schwab, Sylvia Simon, Joanne Snow Willstetter, Jerry Spellman, Max Stoller, Charles Sussman, Hank Townsend, my father, Dieter Tivi, Bill Tone, and Neelan Weinstein. If there's anybody else of whom you're thinking at this Shabbat, please feel free to say their names out loud or share them in the chat. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Everybody, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirotei ve'yamlich malchotei, b'chayechon uvyomechon ufchayei dechol Beit Yisrael, bagala ubizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudsha Richu, Leila, min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom mimromav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memory be a blessing. Please be seated. I want to say like a brief one more thank you to everybody who had a part in the service here today, to the Schwittler family for lighting the Shabbat candles earlier, and to Mary Pimentel-Diaz for announcements. Our TTT they have here tonight, also Aaron Peterson, our president, who also joined for the night, and our security lead, Sean Bethel, who's out there watching out over us as well. And of course, to all of you for sharing this Shabbat with us together. Thank you. And for our closing song, what I would like to do today is Lechi Lach, in honor of this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha. If you want to follow along with the text, it's in your book on page 341 for Lechi Lach. Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim. Lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. One final thing, Kiddush and Motzi. If you want to follow along, it's on page 5 in your books. Please rise as you're able. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחיל לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. And the motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. All right, everybody, enjoy. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. And see you soon. Bye. Shabbat Shalom.